Caroline, and thank you all for being here to hear us. So, I'll try to not to repeat everything that my colleagues already said, because we see there is a lot of commonalities among these countries. But it's impossible not to say again some of the words, because that's part of the reality in Brazil. But we have good news in Brazil. We have better indicators than we had in the past. The last two the last governments work hard and could increase the social indicators of the country. We see a lot of people now going to Brazil to learn from us. It's a very interesting point. However, we see that there is a long way to go, and we also have to face some of the problems of the paternalistic view of the current government. And that's a very good opportunity for philanthropy, actually. However, it's also one of the barriers for the development of philanthropy in the country, the view that the government has a larger role and that philanthropy cannot evolve as it could. So we lack tax incentives in the country, so individuals don't have the freedom to donate and have a tax incentive for that, which now we are currently having a very strong debate on that. However, we don't see from the government the will to change this. There is a dramatically increasing growth. We now rank as 11th in the number of millionaires in the world. It's a statistics from the World Wealth Report, which is amazing if you think 11 in the number of millionaires in such a short period of time. We are the 7th largest economy. However, when you take a look at the World Giving Index published by CAF, we are on the number of 83 among 146 countries. So we have still a very long way to go, actually. But we see that there is a culture of giving in place, however, not formally organized because of the lack of tax incentives. So we don't have statistics on that. They are really trustable. We estimate that the amount of giving based on what's been published and informed that is around $6 billion. However, we see that there is much more than that because of donations to the church and also donation within a community. We see that there is momentum for philanthropy. Brazilians, the increasing wealth, many families had sold their businesses and now they have only assets and money. And there is an increasingly, we realize that they are more interested in doing philanthropy in an organized way, that there is an emergency of foundations being established and institutions for philanthropic purposes in the country in the last 10 to 15 years. In Brazil, because there are tax incentives for corporations, most of the philanthropic money goes through corporations. The families that still own businesses do their philanthropic activities through corporations. And we also see, as Marcia mentioned, an increasingly interested in matching philanthropy with the purpose of developing the country or developing social and environmental indicators for the country that would develop the country in a better way. Brazilians are still very local in giving. Actually, our regulation does not allow foundations to give outside of the country. We have another kind of institution that you can establish in Brazil as a foundation or as an association of for philanthropic purposes. The associations can give outside, but it's also very complicated. You have to go through central banks, and it's so Brazilians are really very local still, and also also see now the emergency of the social enterprises. That's a new trend in the country that has been very debated. It's still very small, the amount of business that have social purposes, but it's we see that Brazil can be a very good laboratory for this kind of purposes because of this. We still have lots of social problems that could be tackled by social enterprises. And but that's, and the other thing that I'd like to mention, that it's the growth of the middle class, and we also see that there is lots of opportunities to increase the amount of giving in the country because of the emergency of a new middle class. If you there was a research that done in the country that indicated that the percentage of giving from the lower classes in the country is much higher than in the upper classes, if you think on percentage of income. So we see as a great opportunity because this the lower classes now are becoming the new middle class, and if this trend of giving continues in terms of percentage, we're gonna expect that there is an increase in giving in the next coming years. So,
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.